Hey, everybody, stop working. It's time for a lunch break. Proudly brought to you by Groove Fishing, changing the way you do tackle. Sunline, the best fishing line on the planet. And Spro, makers of the finest tackle available. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the lunch break here at the Live Well. Hope you guys are doing good today. It is Hump Day, Wednesday, March 4th. I tell you what, this year is just flying by. Hope everybody's doing good. See a couple of you guys in the comments already. John G is actually detailing a Georgia Power truck because he's got to make that money because he's got a tournament on Alatoona this Saturday. So that's pretty cool, dude. You do a lot of different things, right? Um, one day you're driving dogs across the country, and the next day, you're detailing the Georgia Power truck. So you do what you got to do. Nathan Owens, how you doing? Guys, hey, listen, I hope you enjoyed last night's live well with Cody Stahl. I did. Good chance to get to know another angler from Georgia. Real humble young man. I see you, Tyler, showing it down there in the comments. You know, it's always nice when you get to meet somebody for the first time like that. When we have a guest, you never know what you're going to get unless they've been on before, right? Or you already know them. Um, JP Vern, what's up, buddy? Coleman, speaking of tackle prices, I dropped almost $250 in tackle this morning. Let me tell you how I got onto my topic today. Anyway, real quick though, first, um, Alex is going to have a kayak episode tonight. He's going to have Nathan Skinner, one of the owners of Festive Waters, on. They're going to talk about rigging, which is really kind of important. We talk about that, even with bass boats, where you put things. Being in a kayak a time or two, I can tell you that it is essential to have everything right where you want it, right? Um, and Tyler consulted on half of it. What's up, Jeff Brazil? Traveling fisherman, what's going on, buddy? I love Cody's attitude about life. Truly, what I'm trying to do. Yeah, absolutely. He was a great guest, but you just don't know. And so, sometimes after the show, the guys and I will stay on a little bit and we'll talk about it. And Clint and I really, really enjoyed having Cody on. And it's again another Georgia angler, good guy, another person to root for. What's up, Clayton? Now, I was sitting last night and early this morning, and I'm on Facebook doing our posts, doing the things that you got to do when you run social media and everything. And I'm watching guys fuss about gas prices. And I don't want I want to keep the politics out of it. I'm not interested, and this is not a political show. Um, but but everything's going up a little bit because of the situation over in Iran. It's crazy how quick the market really booms. Anytime that we have some kind of conflict, hurricane, anything like that, the market's really volatile. But I got to thinking, watching these guys kind of say some stuff on Facebook, and again, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with you, but in my mind, I was sitting there going, I wonder, I wonder how this is going to affect the average everyday guy going fishing. You know what I'm saying? I remember back when what was that? Hurricane Katrina came. The Friday night or something. We had a night tournament. And I had my pro craft up there in Dawsonville. And I was paying at that time the gas went over $3 a gallon. But you guys got to remember, we're talking way, way, way back there. And people were flipping out and all that. Well, I'm throwing the gas right in there. It didn't even phase me. Uh Gotta work some overtime, Freeze One says on TikTok. Yeah. You know, it didn't bother me. Now, much to the dismay of my wife at the time, and she's still my wife, but at that time, she did not like it. But some of you guys are going to feel a little bit of a crunch. Now, between the tariffs and just regular old inflation and yearly everything gets more expensive, how is the average guy affording to fish? Are you having to cut back on anything? Are you going to not buy the Yamamotos instead of, you'll buy the Yum Dingers? Are you not going to buy the Sakamatas and you're going to get some off brand? What are guys doing from the gas to the line to baits to everything? And I just kind of wondered, in my mind, I wonder how this is going to affect the everyday guy. JP Vern, I definitely believe that the average guy who loves fishing will make it happen no matter what. And I agree with you on that. I think we would rather cut back in other areas, right, than to give up the fishing. But if that gas gets up to, and we're just being hypothetical here, guys. Like I said in the comment section, today is just about we're all sitting around. We're on a job site, construction site. It's lunchtime. We're just all sitting on the back of our tailgates and we're just BSing, right? What if gas gets up to $4 a gallon? Huh? What if it gets up to 4.50 a gallon? What if we get California prices? You still gonna go fishing? Best thing I did was buy a 4-stroke cheaper on gas, and that's Freeze One on TikTok. And Cole says, "Heard that," with a smiley face. Um, Now I'm giving up on food so I can fish. I get it, Clayton, 100%. Now Doug says it takes $130 plus right now to fill my boat, plus $60 for the truck. Will your trips become shorter? Like if you living on Lanier, or let's say you live on Allatoona, you're not going to go to Wadowee or to Gunnersville. You're gonna. Does it change that? You see what I'm saying? Does it change that? Now I'll just fish local. I mean, I got 340-acre lake right here in my front yard. I'd much rather go fish Lanier. Will I go fish Latham? Now Alex has a good point. Kayaks don't have a fuel cost. Kayaks don't have a fuel cost. Now Tyler too. What's up, Danny Purdue? Glad to see you back. Uh, Now listen, Tyler, here you say this. If gas gets up to $4 a gallon, there will be a revolution. You say that. You say that. But I remember the same talk back with Katrina when we hit $3 a gallon and people were going to be in this uproar. Well, what happened was, at least in my perspective, only a few times since then has gas really gotten cheap again. People get used to it, right? They just get used to it and they continue to pay. And it just becomes the norm, right? Uh Got to capitalize on double points at Kroger. My wife does that using gift cards, 4 times points, can get 6 times off on the fuel. Yeah, that's a whole formula to that. I wish it took $60 to fill up my truck. It takes 160 to fill it up. Cole says, "Good Lord, what are you driving there, big dog?" Um, Dan, Purdue says, "Nope, I'm going to Gunnersville next week." Now JP Vern does have a good point. Do you really need a full tank of gas in that boat? See, you're going to cut a little bit, right? Will be a lot more trolling motor time instead of big motor time, Fred says. Ashcraft says on that. Um, I'm not excited to fuel my boat up 2 days this week. I burned so much gas running and gunning all over the south end. And then the same thing with the Kroger rewards. Nathan says Murphy has those rewards too. But you see, it's going to affect you a little bit. That COVID gas was insane. Used to fill the boat up for $40. But now Coleman and Tyler and all you young guys, you get used to it after a while. And I've often said that. Now, Cole drives a Ram 3500 diesel. It ain't cheap for sure. Um, and Danny says, yes, my wife does the Kroger and the Kroger survey to get the extra 50 points. Nathan says that Honda Civic does me real good. It's just, and this is just everyday guy talk, how it really does affect us. Now, Doc Holliday, God bless him. I remember when Coke went up to 6 cents, people were going to stop drinking them. That's been a hot minute, Doc. I get pissed off every time I go to a convenience store now, and a 20-ounce Coke is $2.89. But if I go over to the Dollar General, I can buy it because I drink Pepsi Zero. So it's like $2.89, $3. But I go over to the Dollar General and I get a 6-pack, not cold. Got to cool it a little bit for just like $6. And I'm like, oh, they get us in the convenience store, don't they? Now, how is it going? We're talking gas. Everybody's saying something about gas, but what about your bait selection and all that? Just have you changed a little bit over the last, say, couple years? I know you young guys, you always come on this show, you're always talking these Sakamatas and all that. You're gonna throw those things and all that. But if it got really crazy, would you find something else? Free said that's why I drive my Ranger during the week, and the big one on the weekends. Luckily, I have a job to which I don't have to drive very, very often. Now I listen, Patricia, this is awesome. If you can buy a Koike for $25, you can buy gas. Hey, I mean, you throw it out there, right? You throw it out there. It was what popped in my mind, and I was like, okay. The average guy gets to fish a couple times a month. He has a family. He got kids. The kids are going to have their stuff. They're going to keep doing their things. You know that. Where does he cut back? Where does he sacrifice? Because let's be honest, we're selfish, right? We will sacrifice other things. We'll sacrifice other things. I am a listen. My bad habits don't start if you don't want to, but I'm a Copenhagen guy. Money gets tight, I'm a Grizzly guy. If it gets really, really tight, I'm a Stoker's guy. You know what I mean? Um, Now Tyler Shelton says, I already have minnows up my sleeve that I throw instead of the Sakamatas. Well, there you go. But Patricia makes a good point. Um, and I'm not feeling sorry for any of us. We will find something to do, and we'll make the small adjustments. Some of us have better means than others. Okay, there's always that guy. This is really going to affect, and I know there are more important things in the world than fishing, but this is a fishing podcast, so that's why we're talking about it. It's going to affect a lot of guys to where they may have to cancel a trip. They don't buy the $25 corkies. Coleman says, I've been drinking $1 energy drinks and black coffee to save money. What do you guys? Okay, so let me ask you this. Let's throw it out this way for all you guys that are watching TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. What is something that you currently use that if gas prices continue to rise or whatever, that it'll be the first thing you'll cut back on? Fishing related, right? Fishing related. That's what we're going to try to stay with. Free says it sucks anyway. It'll get better. Oh, I think it's temporary. I do too. Uh, Danny is about to be a bourbon guy next weekend. Hey, Rob, I definitely cut back on my drinking a ton, but I have always been a bourbon guy. Always been a bourbon guy. Ain't no way I'm paying $20 for corkies. Now, listen though, we've had numerous guests come on the show and they talk about the durability of these corkies, right? I mean, they're talking about fishing them all day long, fish after fish after fish. So I think that initial price tag really gets people, but it's like it's a couple packs of some less solid stuff. Um, Drinking black coffee to save money is not a bad idea. Probably better on your stomach. True, true. I guess so. Sakamata purchases for me. Possibly tungsten jig heads if it gets bad enough. Would you guys give up your tungsten? Whoa. See, you can. I mean, would you buy? Are you going to go to the eagle claw hooks? Let's just say we have a sustained period of really high prices, probably go from fluorocarbon to monofilament. And listen, I was looking over the Sunline. I've got some stuff coming to me from Sunline, the best line on the market. Some of the stuff is very nicely priced. Let's put it that way. Some of y'all, okay, Doug, some of y'all are going to have to join me as a closet Carolina rigger. It's cheaper than them high dollar lures. Somebody on TikTok said Temu stuff. Hey, you do what you got to do. Danny produces. I agree with Tyler. Would save on the terminal tackle. The terminal tackle. I'd give up tungsten minnow heads, but not for my shaky heads or jigs. All right, listen. Got to draw the line somewhere, right, Cole? Can't give it up on everything, just a little bit. Sakamatas are not a scam. The drawing power is nuts compared to other minnows. Coleman says, I won't be purchasing tungsten jig heads, Koiki, sniper finesse, weedless hooks, baby Z2 minnows, or anything like that. $20 for a jackhammer is crazy to me, but guys love it. Now, Tim Wyatt, for sure. Katrina prices is what drove me into electric boat fishing. And it seemed to be about that time that it started getting popular around here, for sure. Now, Nathan Owens, I agree with you. Sunline, I will spend the money on that shit. It's gold. For sure. Rob, okay, hold on a second. Let me hit Moist Donut because I love that freaking name. It's one of the best names on YouTube. Moist Donut says, I'm fishing nothing but rooster tails this year. But hell, a rooster tail is more expensive now than it used to be, is it not? Fishing is expensive for most. Let's just be honest. Gas is what it is. We can't change the prices. But if you're stressing out about paying for essentials to fish, maybe you should think about a different job. That's Rob. And you know what? Yeah, I mean, you made the choice in your life to be where you're at. Life's all about decisions, right? Um, gonna have to start renting fishing lures. Yeah, never thought about that. Especially you big glide bait guys. That would be funny. I wonder if there's a market for that. Now, Tom says I had to reduce the throttle to save gas consumption. And it's like, hey, listen, you fish a tournament. Now Tim's right on the electric side. Um, that is one thing we don't have to think about. We do not have to think about gas for sure. But are some of you guys gonna that kind of, let's just say you pattern yourself after the Emil Wagners of the world on a tournament? Some of you guys are going to fish Barnes's tournament. Now it's a no sonar tournament, this next one, but in a typical tournament where you're running and gunning 60, 80 spots and you boom, you look, oh, don't like what I see, boom, off to the next one. We can't do that in the electric only world, but a lot of you guys do that now. Well, will you stop? Okay, let's just fish this out for a little bit. Something to think about. Um, JP says, nah, I think I will cut back on other things in my life, like dinners, soft drinks, tobacco, etc., before I stop fishing or sell my truck or boat. I got you. Jeff Brazil says, I'll cut out the extra fishing trips and just fish at home. I have 4 different ramps close by to fish 4 different parts of Pickwick. And that's what I'm kind of saying. Like, are you going to change that? Kendra, what's going on? She says, I fish on a budget as well. You have to. Moist Donut and me would get along because rooster tails get smashed. They do. Um, if it boiled down to it, Danny says, my home and my family comes first. It could. It could. Let's just hope it ain't. We're just being hypothetical today or something like that. One of them thetical words. What's up, Tony? Now, Tyler Shelnut, you won't catch me in a no scope tournament. Why not, buddy? You just go beat the banks, man. It's that time of year that you could do it. You want to fish it? I'll fish it with you. Um, Tim says I could never buy another fishing bait and still be able to fish till I die using the baits that are in my basement. I'm a pack rat tackle hoarder. Now, a lot of he's right. A lot of you guys have a tackle store already in your garage, basement, etc. I think you guys are going to be okay. Except now you're going to go into a store or online or something. You're going to get the shakes because you want to buy. You want to buy, but I get it 100%. Comments are flying in right here. Yeah, you're only going to use 100 feet of braid instead of the whole thing. I get it. Let's see. How about this, Tony? Danny Purdue said he watched your podcast this morning. Great perspective with Alpha Man. I love having the fact that on Monday nights and like tonight, letting Tony and letting Alex, and I want to add other guys too. You guys, we might have to talk if some of you are interested, but just letting them go and run with their own show. And I don't have to worry about it one bit. It's fantastic. It makes me feel good knowing guys are still coming to the page, coming to the channel and everything, and checking out the guys that are part of this family. And they're doing good stuff. They're doing good stuff. Now, Tony, I'm being honest, I ain't watched it yet, buddy. I just had one of those starts of the week. I'm gonna have to go back and do it. And now, Doug, how about this? Let's talk relationships. Guess I'm gonna have to get my wife to cut back on her shopping so I can afford to fish. How many of you will put the hammer down on the significant other? Balling on a budget. I ate roller dogs, Jack Links, Kit Kats, peanut butter crackers, and M&Ms to survive. I can do it. Um, elite reference if anyone knows what I just said. Now, Rob said this. Now, Rob has done this. I had to change professions midlife so that I can make more money and not worry about money. Do I fish less? Of course, sure. But I don't have to worry about money because I changed careers, and he did do that. And his flourishing, hook and hammer, baby. Let's see. I bet rooster tail and curly tail gloves would put you in the numbers if that's all you used. It would. You might not win no tournaments unless you're, Hank Cherry and you can do that, but for sure. Colton Posey, good to see you, buddy. I ain't seen you in a while. Danny Hope, all is well. The biggest misconception in fishing is that you need all the bells and whistles when in fact we don't make use of what you have and perfect it. Very, very, very good point. We all got all kinds of things, right? But really, I'm the world's worst. I mean, well, it's kinda I got a new backdrop, guys, so tomorrow night on the live, well, you guys are gonna see it. Digital Sportsman sent me this brand new backdrop, so it's gonna be the backdrop for future podcasts and all that. So it's in the way, but if it was not here and you look, I got totes and totes of stuff in this room, some of which has not seen the light of day in 5 or 6 years. But you're right, I'll go out and buy the next thing or the next thing and do that, and they'll never get used. You're right. We probably could fish with a lot less. I know, I mean, I'll have 8 rods and I'll throw 3. Um, oh, Rob said, "By the way, I bought $250 worth of quickies for the Smith tournament and never used them. They will look good on my pegboard." Did you busted a prop or something? Did you spin a prop? Was that what it was? He just fished the NPFL championship. Nathan says, "No backing. I never used it, and cheaper line, big game mono." We might have to all go to big game, right? I mean, Will Harkin said the reason he uses it, I was on that podcast, I thought we were gonna get some kind of really deep kinda juicy tip, and he goes, "Oh, no, it's cheap. It's cheap." Um, Rob, Tyler Shelnup wants to know, "Did y'all fish docks at all on Smith? I know all the elite guys on Martin were smashing with the Koike on docks." So he's just curious about that. Uh, so JP Vernon says, "So let's talk about cutting back. What if tournaments went back to a weight limit on tackle lures like the old school bass?" Okay. Now you're cutting back, but at this point, I look at that JP Vernon as like you're fishing a tournament. So you're already investing, gas be damned, all that stuff. So you're in the tournament. I'm not gonna say you're not the average guy, but you've already made that commitment that you're spending that money whatsoever. Now, if the entire field did that, if Bass did that, man, I don't know because there's just so many dollars involved with sponsors, right? It would be hard. I don't know how you would do that because it has changed so much. I mean, just last night when Clint and I were talking, and I never went and looked it up, but how much younger, how much younger Bass seems to be than it used to. Everything's changing, man. Uh, and Tony knows how it is right here. Man, after hosting my own show and trying to get sponsors, plus working on my own stuff, I don't get to watch as much as I'd like of the rest of the week's shows. Welcome to my world. It is hard. Um, where do you draw the line and say something when you think your partner is wasting money? Now, are you talking about your spouse and not your fishing partner? You're talking about your spouse. I will say this, the only reason I have a pot to piss in all honesty, if I'm being honest, is because my wife has control of the not control of the finances, but she keeps up with it. Because I'm the guy that can go into a BP and spend $32.17 on a couple of Cokes, a can of dip, a little Debbie, one of them Boston cream pies. Might as well get me a Slim Jim for later and a pack of sour cream and chive crackers. And I used to, when I did heat and air, I did it every single day. And so basically, I give it to her, and I call it the slow death. She nags me, but eventually it wore me down. And it's like, yeah, you're right. I'm the guy that can go into a Bass Pro or something like that and go in there for a $20 boat part or something or whatever the hell, and I'll spend $180. But she does it too in Walmart. Everybody goes into a Walmart to get a gallon of milk, and you come out $157 poor. But she tells me when I'm spending too much money and wasting money, and I spent, good grief, an hour arguing with AT&T this morning on a thing because they charged us for another line that we don't even use. I mean, she is the one that does it to me, so I cannot really say. Uh, I can only give you the receiving end of that opinion, not the. And to be honest, if you're lucky like I am, she doesn't spend near the money on herself that I spend on me. So when she buys something, a new pair of shoes or something like that, I don't say a thing. Number one, because I'm scared of her. All right. My wife, I love her. Good Lord, I could not live without her. She scares the hell out of me because all she does is watch those crime junkie or listens to crime junkie podcasts and watches those shows. I told you guys, you've heard me say it 100 times. If you see my face on the news, my wife did it, and you ain't gonna find me. I'm on thin ice when that happens. Let's see. Let me try to catch up. Oh, you spun an ear off a prop and then the spare spun the hub. Got pounded twice in one day. That sucks, dude. Um, let's see. What does Tony say right here? Folks, I hate to say it. I spend more money not fishing tournaments than when I did. Trying new lures, fish way more, filming, etc. Tournament fishing was cheap compared to what I'm doing now. Yeah. Ain't it crazy how that works? I use Red Label Cigar and put Real Magic on my line every week and typically get a whole season and a half on one spool. Hopefully that will save someone some money. There's always these little secrets, and you guys can throw them out there. Yeah, he was talking about the spouse. I just listen, dude. I'm just telling you that I'm not the guy to ask for that. I really am not. My wife has the checkbook, but I take care of the investments. That's what I say. That new rod is an investment. It's always funny too on a Saturday because I go fish a tournament, hell Tim White, and them take my money. But I get tickled. She comes home, she goes, "Did you win?" And I just go, and I say, "Baby, it's a business investment. I go to see the guys. I go to hang out with the guys. I go to be out there in public. I go to just talk to everybody, keep the bonds tight. If I look up and win one, great. But it's funny, she asks every tournament. I just look at her like, are you for real? Guys, on a real note, please consider shopping at Aldi. If you don't already, it's half the price of any other store, and they have great stuff. My wife shops at Aldi. Aldi is where the peasants shop. That's where the peasants shop. I heard a guy say that one time. But I go with her. They got great little blue cheese olives there. I love it. Some of the stuff's a little sketch, but there is some good stuff. They got a hell of a specialty cheese and meat section. Um, Colton says, I know one thing after going through my finances, I'm going to have to cut down on my budget this year for my channel. Everything is so expensive. You just have to you have to kind of adjust it a little bit. I'll be honest with that. Aaron says, I always look at how many hours it took me to buy that certain thing. It puts it in perspective. True. It does. Um, Bearded Basson said, those olives are great. Are they not, dude? Like, I don't know what brand it is, but I get the blue cheese stuffed olives. I hated an olive before COVID, and now I love them. I can eat a whole bottle. And actually, that's one of my boat snacks. I'm I'm not Coleman bougie, but you look back over there, and I got basically a charcuterie board going on back there. I got me a little bit of pepperoni, some salami, some olives, little pieces of cheese back there. Hell, I might as well have a bottle of wine back there, just kind of taking it all in. But I love a blue cheese stuffed olive. Danny says, happy wife, happy life for sure. Have you ever just sat back and thought about what you spend on hunting and fishing in a given year? Doug brought that up right there. I just got my lease papers in for my Wilkes County property that I've had for 20 something years. It goes up every single year. Every single year it goes up a little bit. And then the gas to drive out to Wilkes. Um, I did find myself hunting a little bit more around here the last couple of years, but I've kept that lease and always will. But if you really break it down, boy, we drop a pretty penny, do we not? Um, JP Vern, to make it worthwhile spending, maybe consider eating more fish that we catch now. Yeah, bass fillets are delicious, just like crappie or white bass or catfish. I'll eat them spots. I'll eat them spots for sure. I don't mind eating a spotted bass. I'll eat a largemouth if I go somewhere and you guys are having a fish fry and you fry one up, but I'd prefer a spot and in a taco. What's more important, quality high price line or high price lures? Good question. Um, I don't know that in my opinion, Fred, I'd rather have the line. That's just me on certain applications. Like on my spinning stuff. I don't want a crap braid. Um, I do not want crap braid, and I will use a more expensive leader on my spinning stuff. Now on my bait casters, hell, some of them got mono on it. I don't know. I'm more of a spinning guy. So, but the high price lures, I'll be honest with you, the high price lures I got, most people give me. That's just being honest. Um, I can't think of the last time I bought a lure that cost over 20 bucks. Now, when I had the shop, that was the worst thing that could happen for a guy that fishes tournaments and all that because you go take your inventory. Not the best thing for a guy. Um, Publix and Fresh Market is my go-to for shopping. Publix for sure, especially if you got to use the bathroom. Publix has the cleanest bathrooms by far of any grocery chain around here. I have never been into a Publix bathroom and been disappointed. That's my go-to. Um, hey, if my lot in life is considered a peasant life, then I'll take it. 100%, Coleman. We're peasants. I am. What's up, Jeremiah? All these farmers markets, woods and water, ramen noodles, going to have to go. He's going to have to go some hood survival tactics. I knew a guy. Now I've eaten ramen. I like ramen. Excuse me. But I knew a guy back when I did heat and air, and I witnessed this. He did it every damn day. He would take a package of ramen noodles. I ain't talking about the cup of soup. I'm talking about the package. And he would crunch it, and he would just in the bag, he would break it up into 52 billion pieces, and he'd take his seasoning and he would dump it in there, and he'd shake it up, and he would eat it without cooking it. His theory was that it was going to swell when it got in his stomach, and therefore he would feel full. Now, look, if you've ever worked in construction, there's some interesting people work construction in this world. I have met a bunch of them, but that was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. But he did it every single day, and it worked for him. Um, that's true. Now Kendra does. She takes care of dogs, so she has to figure it out by how many Shih Tzus she has to groom to pay for it. 100%. Danny said line. He definitely would take the line. Coleman's going to decide on his next outing if he needs to go with an A5 Wagyu steak or a lionfish tartare for a boat snack because you're bougie, dude. Colton says, I break down how much I spend every year, and I actually do not spend as much as I thought I would, although what gets me every year is gas. It takes up to 3/4 of my budget. Talked to a gentleman yesterday or day before yesterday. Um, and he's had 3 kids. And he was telling me that the biggest expense in his entire budget is daycare by far, he said. By far. And I was like, it's crazy out there. Now, Patricia Leanne Shaw, $12 million missile to take down a $25,000 drone is not a good deal. I guess it just depends on what you're looking to accomplish, right? 2 days of fishing is still cheaper than one trip to the grocery store. Now, my wife uses that. It started with COVID, but she does that Kroger pickup. Drives me insane. Okay, I don't want people picking out my chuck roasts. I don't want some teenage kid get a list and go buy my meats and stuff like that. But my wife loves it. Number one, because she don't have to get in the store. But number two, because it's cheaper. Because let's just say she spent $100 on Kroger pickup. If you took that same list and took me into the grocery store, we're walking out there $175, $200. Because I'm gonna buy what I want. Food for me. Um, James Weber. I bought a new fishing kayak, trolling motor, and sonar. That plus some tackle and gear. I spent $7K this year. Adds up quick, my man. It does. It does. Jeff Brazil. If I would quit buying custom glide baits, I could definitely save some money. It's a terrible addiction to have. For sure. They get expensive, man. 100%. Have you ever looked at the salt in ramen? It's insane. I like salt, dude. I like to I like to partake in salt. Give me a piece of salted butter and I'll just eat it just the whole stick. But yes, it is a lot. It is a lot. It's that same guy that also poops in the corner of a basement of a house framing. Those guys eating weird stuff. Listen, I may have told some of you guys this story, but I did heat and air, and I did new construction, and I had a side job. My boss had a basement in Alpharetta. He said, "Hey, can you go knock that thing out this afternoon? I'll pay you, like a subcontractor on it." I said, "Sure." So I took my wife. Now the house had already the company had done the house, the first two systems, and it was getting ready to be done. And he just asked me if I go over there and add a basement system. It still had a bunch of flex left in it from the previous unit that we put in there and all that, but it was piled in the basement. So here goes my wife. And I'm setting up the furnace, and she would tape and tie strap all the duct runs together, and then I would hang it and everything. But we knocked it out. We're getting ready to leave, and I said, "Hey, listen, I got to tow all this old flex out. I got to set it outside. Will you just start cleaning up?" And she did. Well, I heard this blood screaming. Just it was like I've never made my wife that mad to hear this screaming. I can't replicate it. And I look over, and basically somebody had crapped in the basement, and they had stuck some flex over the top of it. And bless my wife's heart, she reached down there to grab it, and she got a handful of shit. And I mean to tell you, that is the maddest I have ever seen my wife. And to this day, she would never walk back on a job site with me, but she did that. That is a true story. She's just screaming. Now, right or wrong, we know the particular people that work on construction sites doing heat and air and all that back in the day. On the ride home, man, if she saw anybody that even resembled that group of people, she was yelling outside the car window, "I'm just trying to get home so I don't get shot." You know, you don't have hand sanitizer on job sites and all that. She's about to throw up. She's mad as all get go. But yeah, those guys right there. And that's a true story. So if you ever see my wife again, ask her about the time she got a handful of number two in a basement helping me work. She did not, she just was not happy at all. Yeah, Tony's puking. Um, True story though. It really did happen. Now it's funny as hell to me. And I'll be honest, I was laughing when it happened till I realized how mad she was. Oh dear Lord. Let's see that. Okay. Don't worry about Danny. He'll survive the apocalypse. Man could eat an atom bomb as long as he has a Diet Coke to go with it. Got to wash that down, Jeremiah. You got to wash that uranium down, babe. And that's when Amanda's career with ice started. No, but she was very 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 mad. Um, Jeremiah, you'll find this funny too. When Trey was my youngest, when he was, I don't know, 3 or 4, we're pulling in a McDonald's drive-through. Now, granted, I got to listen. Dawson County, Forsyth County, back in the day, we were not as we didn't have as much color as we do now. Let's put it that way. But I love the Chicago Bulls and all that, and I'm always watching Sports Center. We pull into a drive-through at McDonald's, and bless it, this black guy's heart. He's handing me my food and all that, and he's bald. And Trey is slapping me on the back, and he goes, "Daddy, that's Michael Jordan." He said it loud enough for the guy to hear, and I was horrified. And the guy started laughing at the top of his lungs. He goes, "Hey, dude, kudos to you that he knows who Michael Jordan is like that." I'm like, it's always those awkward situations. I said, "Yeah, bro, but I'm sorry." He goes, "No, dude." He goes, "That's funny." But Trey did. He said, "That's Michael Jordan," as if Michael Jordan is sitting in the McDonald's drive-through in Cumming, Georgia, handing him food. Um, this is very true too. If you guys ever decide to get into construction, one lesson you learn fast in construction: never open a bucket that you think is empty if it has a lid on it. That is true. And a lot of you guys are you've never experienced the August porta potty in a subdivision where the houses are being thrown up day, 5 houses a day. If you've never experienced a August in Georgia porta potty on a construction site, especially when there's only one porta potty for like the whole entire place, guys, you don't know what you're missing. You don't know what you're missing. That is absolutely I don't know that I'd wish that on one of my biggest enemies. That is awful. Uh, August porta potties are god awful. You have no idea, dude. Seriously, those guys in construction know exactly what I'm talking about. Somehow though, we went off on poop and porta potties. Um, so anyway, ain't that some cheese? Yes, for sure, Patricia Lee and Shaw. I've seen some crazy things on I had a I don't we'll just say this too. I had a boss that was training me during heat and air, and the roofers, he had stayed out all night at a strip club. He was hungover, terrible headache. He was moody thing when he was in one of these things, and we're putting in an attic system, and it's the same day that the roofers showed up. Now they're back up there, they're just nailing the daylights out of it. They're just pow 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 pow. They're just throwing them shingles down. He flips out because his head's killing him, and he cranks a chainsaw and he sticks it up through the roof, dude, and he's just trying to chase him just with a chainsaw. I mean, them guys are up there just trying to do that, and there's a chainsaw. You know, you've seen movies where people are hiding behind a door and a spear or something comes through the door and barely misses them and all that. KK was just taking that chainsaw, dude. He was just throwing it up there through that. Yeah. And then I can't, I don't speak Spanish, so I can't tell you all the words that were getting said. But it was like, at the time, it was kind of like scary a little bit. I hadn't been on the job but like 3 weeks, and I guess it was the norm. And over the next 10 years, I figured out, yeah, it's just a day on a construction site. Um, I remember the days of sitting in the porta potty in summer in Florida, best way to lose weight. Rob, I can think of better ways. I can think of better ways, but sure. Uh, Prohibition fishing. Painters are the worst. Mm, painters are the worst. I changed out many a piece of flex on a basement system because guys would just go, there's a hole. There's where your boot is. They don't feel like walking out. They'll just use it. I've done that many and many times. All right. Anyway, I'm not going to go as long today. Now, tonight, again, kayak rigging, everything. Alex Purrs. Um, okay. Well, hold on a second. Patricia threw this out. Is the Fritz side the best crankbait out there? Nah, bro. I will not say that the Fritz side's the best crankbait out there because I am partial to the rock crawler. Just me. Others may differ. Differ. What's you guys' opinion on the best crankbait out there? Before I let it go, I you got to be a whole ass animal to sit your bare cheeks on a porta potty. That's how you build up. That's how you build up your immune system, Jeremiah. Huh? Don't wash your hands after every time you go to the bathroom. Check out some midsummer porta potties out there. You got to build it up, dude. Uh, Now Tony says no on the Fritz side because the bill is too fragile, but it is good. That is one thing I've thrown the Fritz side a few times and I have busted off a bill, but that's generally because of my terrible casting ability. They do not do good with docks. But I'm a rock crawler guy. I know I do like the little johns and all that. I'm just not a crankbait guy as much. But if I'm gonna throw one 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be a rock crawler. Um, but there's a lot of great ones on the market. There's a lot of great ones on the market. All right. So anyway, let's call it a day. You guys got to get back to work. Now tomorrow we'll be back for a lunch break. And then I am working on a guest for tomorrow night. I haven't got a confirmation. I hope I get him. I hope I get him. It might be next week before I can get him. JP Vern says the old bomber fat free shad and Norman have been some of my most successful baits. James Weber says a rock crawler and the Bill Lewis ATV. Guy B, what's the pattern on Lanier for tomorrow? I know if I was going on, I'd go shallow. That's just me. This warm weather, they gotta be shallow. The best crankbait period is a Rapala DT. Throw it whenever or wherever you want, and it's going to get bit. It is a very good one. The Rapala DTs and the rock crawlers to me are in the same class of crankbaits, for sure. But the pattern on Lanier tomorrow, I don't know, Tyler, if some of them guys are still on, but I would think with this warm weather that we've had, kind of going on what Cody said last night, you got to have some fish moving up. Who's fishing the no scope on Lanier Saturday? Uh, I don't know that many people who will be doing it. I don't know. It's always interesting. So You guys, we'll see, and it'd be interesting to see what the weights are. I mean, this is the time of year you can do a no scope. I think it has some really good bags for sure. So, anyway, you guys, hey, appreciate you joining me today. Got some work I got to do, so I'm gonna hop off. I'll be back tomorrow for the lunch break. Tyler said they ain't shallow yet. Interesting. Interesting. There's fish shallow, but they're runts. Okay, so big girls are still out a little bit. So there you go. Um, Carson wants to know if you've ever thrown those Guggen crankbaits, Tony. I've never thrown a Guggen anything. I tried one of their plastic worms or something one time. I'm not a big Guggen guy. But again, tonight, 8 o'clock, kayak rigging and fishing. They'll talk about some of these, probably the local lakes. You're probably gonna get a little juice on Lanier, maybe Hickory Log, maybe Latham, those kind of lakes. Then tomorrow we'll have a lunch break to kind of power us into the weekend, and then tomorrow night we will do a live well. And listen, we got the Bassmaster Classic coming. It is coming, and we might talk about that a little bit too as well. Definitely, we'll be going into next week. I caught some good ones shallow on Big Cedar off the Coosa recently, and nobody's caught that annual double digit on Allatoona yet this year. It's coming, Jeremiah. You can bet your sweet ass it is coming. So, guys, you be good. Don't work too hard the rest of the day. Appreciate it. Anytime I do one of these and you guys actually show up, it is a blessing, and I always enjoy it. But we will talk to you guys tomorrow. I will tomorrow, and